All right, here we go. Welcome back to Golf Subpar with Colt, Knost, and Drew Stoltz. I want to get this thing going in a very positive way because your Denver Broncos are rolling right now.
Correct.
You are on the brink of being let off the hook in a bet that you have. You need one more win.
One more.
And how many weeks we got left?
We're not even halfway through the season.
So I'm going to start off. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll get to see what this is. But I got you a little gift. Just to get you.
This is an actual surprise.
This is an actual, yes.
This is uncharted waters here.
Yeah,
here
so we go ahead and open that bad boy up, but I got you a little something.
Oh, come on. Come on now, kid.
That is official game worn.
The 2-1. Riley Moss. Look at that. Get a zoom.
How about that? Your new favorite player.
I'm a lot like Riley, people say. Greatest cornerback in the league. Who's to say? People are saying it. This is what a nice gesture.
Got to thank Coach Payton for that right there. But I mean, that's official stuff right there.
2 sleeves.
And it's Halloween. You just go as Riley Moss with your kids.
I might. People will actually think it's me. Then I'll have to start signing. Or they'll actually think it's him. You know what I mean? But holy shit, Riley. When did you move here? Don't you have a game next week? That's very nice of you. What a guy.
I'm also invested in that as well. So I'm rooting for them too.
I'm giving my gift to you later. I have it. I just forgot.
I have definitely checked more Denver Broncos scores this year than I ever have in the past.
It feels good, doesn't it? To be a part of a winning franchise. By the way, 5-3, like you are what your record says you are. That ain't bad. I'm coming around on this Bo Nix. He's not at Riley level yet.
We'll see what you got the next couple of weeks. But you got Ravens and Chiefs coming up.
It's okay. We just need to grease one more. Anything after that is all gravy.
Well, let's get to. We'll talk some more football later. Because it might be on a heater.
Really smart.
Might be on a heater at the moment.
Yeah, you are.
By a heater, I mean I have not lost when I've picked on this show yet.
Yeah, I'm going to start tailing all of them. I'm
about to start losing.
If there's anyone that can curse it, it's me right now.
All right, well, let's talk a little Zozo here before we get into the main event, golf event of the weekend, which was the Southern Highlands member guest. But Nico Echeverria from Colombia, second PGA Tour win. He's got 2 career top 10s on the PGA Tour, and they're both wins.
It's a good way to be, by the way. When you run hot, you win. When you stink, you get to go home early. And you get the exemptions and the 2 years of your tour card, job security. It's actually a really good way to be, but I don't know that has that ever been done before for a guy that's played multiple years on the PGA Tour? 2 top 10s and both are wins?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at that.
This one's a little better than his first one, too. Yeah. Puerto Rico, any win is a good win, but like Zozo had it's the best field of the fall by a long shot.
Yeah, took down Justin Thomas, Max Grazerman.
You had Xander there, Morikawa's there. I mean, you had a
lot of really good players there. But he's your champ at the end. Birdied the 72nd hole to get it done. Justin Thomas had a million good chances. Hit it beautifully. Hit a lot of great putts that just didn't go in. But I mean, he missed a playoff by a shot. Easily could have done it. I mean, he 8 straight pars to start the back 9, just lipping out everything it seemed like, and then birdied the last, end up losing by 1. But this Max Grazerman, I like his game.
This is a stealthy guy.
Smashes it. And he putts the shit out of it. He has three runner-ups in his last 5 starts on the PGA Tour. He can go.
If you can drive it far and just know out of bounds balls, I don't even care if you're straight, and you roll it like that, he's second in strokes gained putting. I think he leads the PGA Tour in average feet of putts made per round, and he hammers it. Like that's if you could pick 2 things to be that you I would say can't teach. Sure, you can gain speed and sure you can work on your putting, but like some guys are just great putters, some aren't. Yep. Some guys can smash it. Some guys can't. He's got the 2 things. He's got the 2 things. There was a while, I'm not saying this is going to happen with him, but there was a while there before Wyndham Clark started doing anything on the PGA Tour. He was there was like 2 guys in the top 10 on both strokes gained putting and like driving distance or something. And he was one of them. The other one was, I don't know, somebody that was winning everything. Like those are 2 big things to have.
I have a feeling once we start our little golf betting at the start of 2025, I'm going to be on him quite often because he's one of those guys. He's up to 42 in the world. But I just think his odds won't be quite what he's capable of doing.
It's quiet without a win. But, I mean, Wyndham, that one was brutal. Like, he had, watching that thing unfolds, like, he had that thing done. But, 3 out of 5 runner-ups out of his last 5.
Yeah, it's impressive stuff.
It's not just a quick flash in the pan.
But PGA Tour's off this week. We'll get back to it in Cabo next week. These fall events. I mean, I know the fields aren't that great, but you get to go to some sick places. Vegas, Cabo, Bermuda. Sea Island? Where else? God, you're all about this jersey.
Sorry, dude. Sorry, just looking at me. This is what it really feels like, huh? Game worn.
Natalie pulled it out of the box when he sent it. She's like, it seems really small. I'm like, well, I think they stretch pretty good.
About the same size as Riley.
He'll be bulging out of that thing.
Yeah, all the things. Let's go to the main event of the weekend. Yes. Let's hear about it. So high, member guest, you, and former guest on the program here, Ben Lamb, one of the world's greatest poker players, one of the world's most crooked drivers of the golf ball. But you guys got to play a shamble, which then it becomes super dangerous.
So the member guest this year up in Vegas, we did 3 days, 18, 9 holes, but there was no matches. It was just based off your score and and your handicap. But the first day was a shamble, then it was straight best ball, then the last 9-hole match was a shamble. So good thing for Ben is he could play my tee shot a lot of times. He played really well. Playing for my tee shot was good. We won our flight easily. I think we won by 7 in our flight.
Sandbag.
Went to the shootout. I'll get to that in a second. Went to the shootout and ended up finishing second overall. The owner of the club, Gary, and Sheldon Saray actually won.
Sheldon won.
I guess you can't be upset if the owner wins.
Did you challenge Sheldon to a fight afterwards just to see who's the dominant alpha?
No, but I'm like, how big is your member guest trophy case? You've got 47 titles at least.
Yeah, he's got a lot of big things. You know what I mean? He's doing big things. He's doing big things.
But anyways, it was a blast. It was 5 nights in Vegas, which was entirely too much. I was exhausted come the end, but we played great. I ran out of gas there in the shootout. And also before the final round, a guy pulled my partner, Ben Lamb, aside and said that Colt Knost is a sandbagger. I was giving 5 shots back around, plus 5.
Yeah. If I had to pick one of these two guys on this leading team that I have an issue with, it's the plus 5. Yeah, I mean, that's just the way things go in a member guest. Someone's always going to be bitching and moaning. Normally, that's not the plus 5 that they call out. But go to the shootout because your partner, God bless him. By the way, to fluff you, he said you played great throughout the golf tournament. And he's like, we get to the shootout. You ran it. You had a little putt that you hit in there. And he couldn't let me know about it fast enough, by the way. And he's like, Cole just missed 4-footer blue the whole tournament. Luckily, I'm the most clutch ever. I made a 12-footer. I was like, I think your ball was still rolling when he was texting it. But walk us through the shootout and give us the reason on the putt, too.
Okay, so it's also a shamble in the shootout. You go 16, 17, and 18 at Southern Highlands. I hit my drive up there perfect. We had like 52 yards left. Ben's tee shot went very far left. It might still be going. So I proceeded to hit up there to about 4 feet. And one of the guys in the shootout was a man named Joby from Dallas, who is funnier than shit. Okay. I love the man. He is awesome. Well, there's music going on during the whole thing and everything. And it was that song Fancy Like by Walker Hayes, where it says Applebee's on a date night or something there. And I'm literally over my putt. And right as I pull it back, it goes, you're going to miss your reservation at Applebee's. And I literally busted out laughing as I hit it, missed it, proceeded to miss the next one. But then my partner did come up. He was devastated when I missed it because then his putt was.
Then he had to actually show up
because they go first closest to the hole putts, and so he had to go up and hit it, and he actually buried a 12-footer in front of about 200 people. I was so pumped for him, and they knock out a few teams each hole. We made it all the way to 18. There was 4 teams, and we lost. They made birdie at eagle.
Lose to the owner is probably good for him. You know what I mean?
But it was awesome. I got heckled, and it got me. I'm not proud of that. I'm stronger mentally than that, but Joby, you got me, son of a bitch. Yeah, and then he's actually
funny. There's a song about Applebee's.
Yeah, he is. He's actually in New York City going to the World Series tonight, and he sent me a picture of an Applebee's and said, "Looking for you."
It's good. I don't think you would like him. I won't drive by one for a while without thinking about it. Probably
you would like him a lot. He's also a big LSU Tiger fan, so when they lost to the Aggies, I really enjoyed it the other night.
Oh yeah, I had to be revel in that.
But yeah, man, it was awesome. They do such a great job there, and I mean, it's Vegas. I love it. Had a little match.
You look like you've gone through a war.
Yeah,
I think I see a bead of sweat coming down.
I think that's tears from laughing.
Is that tears? Okay.
That's tears from laughing. But
you're an emotional
Shadow
wreck.
Creek on Wednesday was awesome. I teamed up with Monty, and which was weird. We've never done that before against Ben and his buddy, and we actually lost. We both shot 5 under par, 67, and lost. We got smoked. Actually,
yeah, play better. You and Monty on the same team. It's like the Crips and the Bloods coming together. Doesn't feel right.
We had a blast, though. Shout out to Shadow. We're actually going to be going there next month. We're going to do a little sit-down with Monty Montgomery.
That's going to be special.
It could be special, but it was, I mean, the place, I just get so excited going there.
Yeah, 5 days is too long to be in Las Vegas, but if you're going to spend 5 there, those are 2 of the spots to be.
I've been home for 12 hours, and Ben has called me 6 times.
Yeah.
I've had enough of him.
I felt like I played the member guest, the amount of calls and texts and FaceTimes, and I'd be laying in bed or watching football, 10, 12, FaceTime. Like, yeah, here we go. And they're going.
President started earlier, but it was a session. But good to be back.
Well
ready
done.
to rest up a little bit.
Runner-ups are good.
It was
Don't
a nice
sleep
week.
on runner-ups.
Slap some people around. Good.
Beat almost everybody.
Well,
you know?
that's what we were trying to do. But by the way, that's the best I've ever done in a member guest, I think. by far.
Well, if they play matches, the 9-hole matches, when you're the lowest handed, you have no. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't even finish middle of the pack. Like you just lose over unless you do something crazy. But when you actually add them up, and you got a partner getting some pops that doesn't have to play his balls from
he doesn't have to
from other opposite holes, you become dangerous.
When he's in Vegas and doesn't have to play his tee shot in Reno.
Yeah,
he's okay.
He's not the straightest.
He's not.
It's a hell of a talent though, Benny.
But he
Lamb.
was a good host, Ben. Good host. I can't wait to run it back again next year. Hopefully I'm still alive by then after this session. But let's get to our guest this week, huh?
Yeah,
Before we get to our guest, actually, it's never too early or too late to book a little spot. Golf Kohler, Whistling Straits, the American Club, all the above. We had a blast there a couple of months ago. It's probably getting a little cold there right now, but hey, just go ahead and start booking for spring, summer. Place is incredible. You'll love it. Maybe you can take your new best friend and wear your jersey up there.
Me and Riley probably again. We've been talking about it. We haven't picked a date yet. We'll go up there, American Club. We don't know if we want to bring the ladies or not. They can go to the spa while we go out there and just get after it. But we'll see. But yeah, if you're looking for a place, like I said, fellas trip, or you want to bring the ladies too,
nice spa.
They can get taken care of, or maybe they're golfers too.
Yeah,
and they can get after it.
All right. Well, let's get to our guest this week, who is a rather massive football fan, as I've been learning. He's an Ole Miss Rebel, hotty toddy. Just earned his PGA Tour card for the first time. Was a member of the 2017 Walker Cup, and he's the only guy that pursued professional golf that had never earned a PGA Tour card. Well, that all changed when he won the Korn Ferry Tour Championship just a few weeks ago. Braden Thornberry joins us on Golf Subpar.
All right, we got an upcoming rookie on the PGA Tour joining us today. Had a monster amateur career and college career at Ole Miss. He just won the Korn Ferry Tour Championship. He's headed to the big show, right where he belongs. Braden Thornberry, welcome to the show. Appreciate you, my man.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, sir.
Hotty toddy. Here we go. Thanks so much for joining us, man. Like, seriously, what's it been like the last few weeks from winning the Korn Ferry Tour Championship, locking up your PGA Tour card, knowing you're going to be playing with the big boys here soon?
I mean, it's exciting. You go from, maybe 3 or 4 events left in the Korn Ferry season. I'm halfway worried about, I was kind of on that 65 to 70 mark on the Korn Ferry. So I'm just kind of worrying about that, just keeping my Korn Ferry card, and then, to put some good weeks together and then win that last one and, get my tour card, and even in the top 30, finishing 16 is even better. So it's changed a lot of stuff with obviously scheduling and, looking at potential sponsors, all that kind of stuff. It was not where I expected to be 4 weeks ago.
Can I ask real quick about that Tour Championship too? Because I actually got to play that golf course a few months ago, the French Lick die course.
Yeah,
that place is impossible. And I think you won at 9 under. Was that the first time you had played it?
That was the first time I played it. Yeah, it's a crazy course because we played probably 70. I think it's 8,100 from the tips. We played it probably 7,600, kind of a variation of that with some tees moved around and stuff. And it was actually perfect weather for the first 3 days. And 9 under, I think, was leading through 3 days. So that shows how hard it is. It was literally soft. We were playing the ball up, no wind, sunny, 75 degrees, and it was 9 under through 3 days, which is pretty much unheard of in those conditions. So. But yeah, then the last day it got blowing 25 to 30, so things changed a little bit. But it was kind of still some of that hurricane rain kind of hit it, I think, the week before. So it was just kind of just soaked when we got there on Monday and stuff. And it kind of slowly got a little drier and drier throughout the week.
Those fairways were so narrow, and visually, it's damn, this place is the first hole. I walked up there and I'm just playing this fun event. I'm like, where are we? This is going to be impossible. And then I heard y'all were coming there.
Yeah, what's tough is that so a lot of those fairways, you'll have a 510-yard par 4, for the first hole, for example, or even the 12th hole, it's 530, and it's a 25-yard wide fairway. So even if you hit the fairway, you have 220 and a 4-iron. But if you miss either way, it goes down both sides of the fairway. You're either on a huge side slope and it's blind, and it's just not a super enjoyable golf course. It's obviously a good test, and the Korn Ferry is a lot of easy golf courses, so it's you feel bad if you complain about a hard golf course, but yeah, it was even if you played the holes well, they were really hard, and if you're out of position, it was just impossible.
Yeah, isn't that kind of nice though? You just 9 under winning. I mean, dude, you guys were having cuts. I think they were 6. I don't know if one got to 7. I just had buddies text me 68, 69, going home. All that. Is it?
There was
it's got to be nice to play
what was it? Dallas. It was an 8 under cut, but there was an amateur, so it ended up being 7. But normally with the amount of people, it was an 8 under cut, and it's just I shot 600 for 2 days. I'm I didn't really do anything wrong, but you just got to tear it up. I don't care how easy the course is. You're teeing off on one, and you got to get going right away.
That would be the Veritex Bank Championship.
The
It's a great
Veritex
bank to
Bank
with.
is a great bank. If you're going to bank, you might as well bank with them.
We used to have a
I'm a
sponsorship
Simmons
deal
Bank
with
guy, so
Oh, yeah, that's right. They're
yeah.
good, too. They're good, too.
Yeah, you were just out, I saw on your Instagram at the this PGA Tour Champions event.
yeah, I went over there. They kind of were like, if you want to come, you don't have to, but like, we'd love to have you over here. And I was not doing anything. So I was like, I've never been to a Champions Tour event. I'd never been to that Pleasant Valley golf course. It's in Little Rock. And I was like, I might as well drive over. It was like 2:15 away or something. So just went over there and got to see like Ernie Els and Retief Goosen, like all these guys. It was actually crazy because I used to go to the FedEx St. Jude growing up when I was 12 years old, and it was like basically rewatching that tournament. It was all the same guys that are 52 now, and they were 35 then or whatever. So it was almost like going to another tournament with all the same people I'd watched before.
What have you been doing since, you win the Korn Ferry Tour Championship, you got your tour card, but now you're kind of like, what are you going to do for the next few months? I assume you've celebrated appropriately, but how do you stay busy until you start getting some starts?
Well, yeah, every new batch of people I see like congratulates me, so that's cool, and it doesn't really get old.
Nice.
But I've kind of just been chilling. I haven't played golf hardly at all. I've really just been like, so I was doing Q school. I didn't have status last year, and I did like the Korn Ferry Q school, the Live Q school, DP Q school. I did all those, and then straight into the Bahamas. So I've had no off time since like last September, October. So I like truly finished that tournament, and I was like, all right, I got 3 months off. Like if I'm going to take a break and like reset, like it needs to be now. So I've hardly touched the club in the last like 2.5 weeks. And then I'm about to start get back into it and try to get sharp, and start working on stuff I need to work on. But I was like, if I'm going to take some time off and get refreshed, it's got to be now. So
Yeah, and for those that don't know, you were an absolute stud growing up. You won the NCAAs, Mark McCormick Medal, Walker Cup. You're an All-American every single year you played. Are you a little surprised it's took you like this long to get on the PGA Tour?
Yes, and it's just as both of you know, it's really difficult, and I think a lot of my peers in recent years have made it look easier than it is. And back in the day, I feel like people didn't come out and just win majors right away, like Colin did or something like that. And it was kind of, I feel like I'm definitely a better golfer now than I was then. It just seemed like the spark, like I had in college, it would I'd go into the final round in 5th place or 10th place, and I'd go tear it up and win by one. And then these couple years, it's been like, all right, I'm playing good golf, and I go out and shoot 1 under on Sunday and finish 15th or 20th. And you're like, I didn't necessarily struggle. The game plan was good. Just the 15 footers weren't going in, stuff like that. And it was hard on me at first because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing different. The guys I'm playing against are better, but it's not really about that. If you're shooting, in college, if you go shoot 15 under, 18 under through 3 days, you can play with anybody. So it wasn't about the competition. I just feel like I didn't quite have the I don't want to say luck, but just kind of the spark where you're get going and you're 3 under through 5 on Sunday. I just feel like that was really happening for me for 2 or 3 years in a row in college. And it kind of really until this year, because this year I was in, the scores don't show it because I had a bunch of Sundays where I just said where I shot 1 under, even 1 over. And I was in contention probably 5 or 6 times this year where I very easily could have won on Sunday. And so it was nice to finally have that last one where I actually wasn't as much in contention to go out there and tear it up. And kind of the whole theme of the year had kind of been playing great and couldn't quite get it done on Sunday. And then to have an amazing Sunday in my best round of the year and maybe best round of my life on Sunday to do it is a really cool finish to the year.
Picked a good time to flip the script.
Yeah. Didn't you win 11 times in 3.5 years in college?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually didn't even win my last semester, so in 3 years. I guess in 2 years. I won my last 2 events my freshman year and then kind of went crazy sophomore, junior year. So it was mostly in 2 years.
Yeah, what was that thought process like, by the way? Because, to turn pro at that time I thought was kind of an interesting choice. You were the number 1 AM in the world. You had exemptions into the U.S. Open and British Open. But then you decided to leave your spring semester.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was kind of a big thing why the PGA Tour U came about, because a lot of us, so Davis Riley and Will Zalatoris, we all did it the same year. If they actually didn't go to Q school, so their situation was a little different. But so you could go to Q school as an amateur and be exempt to second stage while you're in college. So essentially, if I would have, finished out my 4 years, I would have had to wait till that fall and then the next year. So you'd miss probably, 6 months, 8 months of really being a pro other than a couple sponsor invites. And so I went to Q school as an AM, got status, and then I was like, do I jump on the status now or do I risk, going back to school and going to Q school again? And then if I miss there, I'm going to feel like a real idiot. So that was kind of a flaw in the system, if you want to call it that. So that was kind of a good change with the PGA Tour U, where they like, you have to go 4 years and then you can, start your career.
Yeah, I mean, if you were just a couple years younger, you would have gotten your PGA Tour card multiple ways, either through PGA Tour U, which you said, that came in after you got done, your amateur career. You won Q School one year when there was no cards. It's just like you were kind of like, there's so many different ways you could have gotten your card if things were as they are now. And it wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't. And I think, too, it was a little bit of an example of a couple of those people that were doing that. Like I was saying, the leaving early, and how much success guys in my class, like the Colin and the Justin Suh, the Victor Hovland, he was a year younger, but just all the success, they were like, if we give, the top guy or even the top like 5 guys opportunities, they're more than likely going to do something with it, which I agree with the whole process. Every other sport is, everybody's talked about this, but if you're a great player in college, you're guaranteed, a big contract and an opportunity at the pro level. And golf is really, I got to go to second stage and that was it. Like there was no real benefit. You get a couple, potential starts on the PGA Tour, but you can play good in those and still not really necessarily get anything. Which is kind of this a little different point, but it's kind of a disappointing thing to me that they got rid of the finals on the Korn Ferry, because that's where so many guys in my situation did it. They would go play a couple, finish top 200, go to finals, like Victor Hovland did it that way. And so I don't exactly know the path. They made it easier for the top couple guys to the PGA Tour U, but actually took away that avenue. So I'll be interested to see if that has any, ramifications in the future.
Yeah, I love the PGA Tour U program. I think it's awesome. Gets guys to stay 4 years, and to keep track of that all year is great for us with what we do, and provides a lot of great opportunities for you young guys.
I agree.
Coming out. But I want to go back to that Walker Cup team, 2017 LA Country Club. I mean, y'all were loaded. I believe Stuart Hagestad, obviously a lifelong amateur. You were the last one to earn a PGA Tour card. So 9 out of 10 have earned a PGA Tour card. Pretty impressive. Go over some of those, some of your teammates.
So you're putting me on the spot. It was Scotty Scheffler, Will Zalatoris, Doug Gem, Maverick McNeely, Doc Redman, Norman Zhang. Who am I forgetting?
Stewie.
Yeah, Hagestad, and I'm missing 2 more, I think. God,
was Suh on there?
More. Oh, Cameron Champ.
Champ. Yeah.
And I'm missing, I think, 1 more. Whoever it is, they're played on the PGA Tour,
Tough
so they're a good player.
That guy.
They're probably listen. They'll probably listen to this too and be pissed. But I'll look it up for you.
Whoever it is, I apologize.
Yeah, play better, Braden. Seeing a lot of those guys go on and, like you said, so quick. Like they skew the perception, right? They skew the bar because it's like, oh, Colin Morikawa comes out, wins right away, wins major championships right away. Was it hard to watch that, knowing that like, hey, I'm the same as these guys, and I've competed with them, I've beat them, I've been just as good as they are, and yet here they go, already winning major championships at such a young age.
Yeah, it was very frustrating because that summer, so I turned pro the semester early. Those guys stayed, and then there was a couple starts even that I was expecting to get in the summer on the PGA Tour that they kind of had that big 4 that year. It was like, I think it was Morikawa, Justin Suh, Matt Wolff, and
Victor.
Victor, yeah. So all those guys, like tournaments kind of was like a theme, which was cool. Like that you have kind of like the college guys coming out and you have the same 4, but they got like basically like the same 7 in a row. And so that was a little disappointing to me because I was like, that was basically in that group, even, older than a couple of them. But so that was a little disappointing. And yeah, I mean, I never really was like sad about that. And because I was always on the Korn Ferry. So my kind of thought was it like, if I can do it, I'll do it on the Korn Ferry. It wasn't like I was sitting at home with no opportunities. So I had a lot of people like say stuff like that to me, like, oh, like, are you jealous? Do you wish you were out there right now? And of course the answer is yes, but I was like, I'm on the Korn Ferry playing every week. Like if I'm good enough, like this is where I need to show it. Like I have the opportunity in front of me, and I wasn't really able to do it for a while, which was like very frustrating because I felt like I was working hard. I was doing all the same stuff I did in college and it just wasn't quite clicking. And I was like, you start to have those doubts of like, either I need to change something. Am I never going to make it? And that was obviously very tough, but I am very proud of the way I handled it and just kept working hard and never really let that get to me at all. And I was like, if I'm good enough, like I'm going to keep working hard and I'll either make it or I won't. But I want to, if I don't make it, I want to be able to say that like I tried my hardest and it just wasn't meant to be. So I'm very grateful that I was able to have that mindset and finally made it to the PGA Tour now. So it's a good feeling for sure.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is surprised to see you earn a PGA Tour card that has known you growing up through the amateur ranks and everything. I mean, like I said, you won everything. And you did get all those guys right on the Walker Cup team. You didn't leave anybody out.
I didn't leave anybody out?
No, you just didn't count yourself. So you're only counting 9, but you didn't count yourself.
You're right.
There's that guy.
Forgot about this guy.
Yeah, I said tough look for that guy.
Where does that rank as far as your golfing achievements so far, putting on the red, white, and blue and representing your country?
Man, that was awesome. And I know a lot of people have said it, but I've never been more nervous than teeing up the ball in the first hole. I don't know what it is. Like, it shouldn't be like inherently that nerve wracking. Like, you're on the first hole, it's match play, you have a partner a lot of times. Like, it should be honestly like a fun, somewhat relaxing environment. Like, everyone's cheering you on, all that stuff. But something with putting the tee in the ground on the first hole of that thing, I've never felt like that. Like, almost couldn't get on the tee. And then I think there was, it might have been like Paul McBride or something from the GB&I team. He like actually like dropped it a couple times, and I was like, "Oh no, this is like, like you want to almost like make fun of it," but I was like, that could have very easily been me if I was just a little bit shakier. So I don't know what it is. I've heard people say that, and it's so true. Like if you're tied for the lead or something, starting on Sunday, like I've never had that feeling. Like there's some internal nerves, but like I'm not shaking and stuff. So it's just, I don't know, something about it just is a deeper meaning when you get to like represent your country, and it's that, and also just being like, kind of the honor of like looking around you and seeing all those players, which obviously they weren't who they are now, but like when you're in it, you can kind of tell the guys, which guys are going to just be ballers in general for their whole career. So just to be like included with those people is just really neat.
Who do you keep up with the most from that team?
From that
in terms of
team,
communication.
let's see.
You keep up with those guys?
I talk to all of them occasionally, but probably like I was saying, they all got to the PGA Tour right away. So I was not with those guys like as much. Like I probably talked to my best friends are Davis Riley and Taylor Moore. So Davis almost made that team. So those are kind of the guys I've talked to most. And then obviously guys on the Korn Ferry that have been through and stuff. But I keep up occasionally like with all those guys, but I wouldn't say I'm like talking consistently really with anybody out there right now.
That's a hell of a class.
Yeah, that is.
That's a hell. The guys that didn't make the team, that almost made the team.
Yeah, Sam Burns, which was very controversial.
Yeah.
Like he definitely should have made that team. I don't know what the politics were with that, but I mean, for Sam Burns to be left off that team, Davis Riley, like, I mean, that's pretty, just to be Americans in that age for like to have that stacked of a class is insane.
What was the score in that one?
It was the way
y'all won.
Them. It was like 19-7 or 19-6 or something like that.
Or maybe 19-7. 19-7.
Yeah. I think that's right. And I think it was Norman Jung and Morikawa, I believe. They won on like 11 green one day. Like it was just crazy. It was like, I don't remember which format it was, but like the whole vibe of the week, like obviously we're the home team and just, I mean, we had the momentum all week. We were leading by a lot going into Sunday, and we're like, if we just win a couple of these matches, we're good. And then I think we won like, I don't know, like 8 out of the 10 matches or whatever it was. Like the whole week we were just playing great.
Yeah. Better luck next time.
It's a special week, there's no doubt. But now you're heading to the PGA Tour. I know you obviously love being from Memphis. You love the FedEx St. Jude Classic. Other than that, what's an event you really got circled on the calendar? Like, I cannot wait to get there.
It's a tough question. I mean, Phoenix is probably, I know a lot, I heard the podcast last time with McCarty. He said the same thing because he's from there, but I think that one's probably cool because it's the most different of all the others. And I just think that's like playing 16 and stuff. You see it your whole life, like growing up and stuff. I think that would be a really cool one to play that's very different. But honestly, I'm just looking forward to just in general. I've played 4 seasons now on the Korn Ferry, and like you get very, I don't want to say bored, but like going to the same cities, you're not really having to do any work in the practice round because you've seen this course in all different conditions. So I'm kind of excited to like get to some tournaments on like Sunday and like play the Monday Pro-Am and like see it for the first time, like all that kind of stuff. So just overall I've worked so hard for so long for it, just being a PGA Tour player. And like, I think I've played maybe 12 PGA events throughout the last 5 years, but like being able to show up on property as a PGA Tour member is just going to be really special and like a very different feeling, I think, to the past.
How are you with playing when there's noise around?
I'm fine with that. I play really quick and noise doesn't bother me, so I'm very...
You do play really quick. I love that.
When I went to the Champions Tour event yesterday, when you're out, it was the first time I've been outside the ropes since I was like 16 going to the St. Jude or something. So, and I didn't realize how much noise there is actually outside of the ropes. Like I don't really hear it when you're like, I guess, focused and kind of just doing your own thing. But like when you're outside the ropes, there's kids and people walking around and talking and stepping on leaves. And like, it was pretty hectic. I was like almost having to like tell people to like calm down while these guys are hitting.
Talk about your pace of play, because it's something we don't say many good things about the pace of play in professional golf right now. You play ridiculously fast. When you're paired with some of these guys because let's be honest, most of them are slow. There are very few fast people. What's it like for you? Do you just have to go off in your own little zone and just not pay attention to what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't bother me that much just because I'm so used to it. Like a lot of times people are slow and I don't even realize it till like the back 9 or something, but the stuff that really gets me is like the aim point on the 2-footer and stuff. That always just burns me up a little bit. But it's like, because I'm just very much a field player, like a reactive player. And I just feel like, I mean, everybody's different, but like I just feel like that's kind of what golf is. And then, unfortunately, I think over the last like 10 years, it's turned a little away from that into kind of like a robot game, math game, which works for some people. But I think some people might even be better on the PGA Tour if they were more that way, as opposed to be, or more feel based, as opposed to being so like, I don't know, computer minded. But I do think the playing tour golf, which I've noticed it even for myself, like when you're around people that all hit it dead straight and they do everything perfect and all that, it rubs off on you a little bit. Like a lot of times I'll start the season and like in the off season, I've been working the ball right to left to right, like spinning chips, all this kind of stuff. And then I swear I play like, 6, 7 events in a row. And all of a sudden I notice I'm trying to hit everything dead straight. So it's like your surrounding, I think, like makes a big difference with that. So you kind of have to block it out a little bit. It's the same thing with the slow play. I think I just need to be like myself as much as I can and just let everybody else do what they're doing.
I'm glad you mentioned that about being a field player, and I totally agree with you. I think there's some guys that get too bogged down in the mechanics and the science and the TrackMan numbers and trying to be perfect. You have a really cool golf swing. There's things going on in that swing that teachers wouldn't teach if you showed up as a kid swinging like that. But you make it work and you hit it beautifully. What does your instruction look like, if any? Do you take lessons?
Yeah, so I've been working with Scott Hamilton the last, I mean, not a ton, but probably seen him maybe 5 times over the last year or so. And I'm not a huge like at the tournament guy. Like I want to go to somebody when I have a tournament in a month and be like, all right, what direction do we need to be working on? Like I just like having some sort of feel, some sort of, basically like direction's the best way I can put it, is just knowing what I need to be doing a little bit and kind of working on one thing. I think a lot of guys, like we just talked about, they'll have everybody's at the tournaments and everybody's so technical and like it just turns the game into not really like a game anymore. It's almost like you're just trying to do everything so perfect and it's not very fun. So I notice I've played my best golf when I'm like feeling good and having fun and like even playing fast. That's another thing. Like I feel like when I'm playing well, I read putts less and less and like it just feels like I can get like rolling a little bit as opposed to just trying to hit positions and like worrying about, I've seen guys with like wind charts on how far it's going to go and all that stuff. And I just don't really, it's not that I don't believe in it. Like I do think it works for certain people, but it's just not my style.
That is
God bless you.
So refreshing.
I love all of this.
And I love Scott Hamilton. Give him my best. He is one of the best. We got to talk a little football here. Ole Miss Rebels. Right. It was looking good early. I know we got 2 tough losses, Kentucky and LSU. Is that?
Yes, LSU was correct. This has been one of the first years, which obviously like hopes for this year was a national championship. And it's been very disappointing that I think both games, like Kentucky had a good game plan against us and just like, it just felt like one of those games we were going to win by 17 and like go crazy at some point, and the game just like ended quickly. I don't know. And then all of a sudden we missed that field goal and lose. Then LSU feels like we should have won 41-20, and they just like, I don't know, we just haven't quite clicked. Like I feel like we've been clearly the best team in every game we've played. And even like South Carolina, we beat them, I think 26-3 or something like that. And it felt like it should have been 45-3. So it's like, I think we have a great team, which is hopeful for the 12-team playoff that maybe we can win out and do something with it. But I still just don't feel like we've quite clicked to where we can, which is like kind of frustrating. But to be ranked whatever we are, 15-ish or whatever, and be disappointed is always a good thing.
Yeah, and you got a chance if you're ever going to lose 2 games early. This is the year to do it with the 12 team. Yeah. Can you imagine a home game with the Grove down there? A playoff game would be spectacular. Tell us about the Grove, because we have a bunch of friends that went to Ole Miss. They all come back. They say best tailgate in the world. What's it like?
It's unreal. Well, what's interesting, going back to what you said about the home game in the playoffs, for some reason, I've been saying, like, example to people, like, it'd be so sick if we played in Oxford versus Oregon, like, round 1 or whatever, which I guess they'd get a bye, so maybe we wouldn't play Oregon. But, like, if we could sneak in and play one of those schools that we never really, like, get to play, especially, and have those fans come into Oxford, I think it'd be just amazing. And I'm going to the Georgia game in a couple weeks, and that's going to be – I'm actually doing my bachelor party in Fayetteville next week. Oh, yeah. So we're going up there, and then I'm going to the Georgia game. We're having a little, like, Ole Miss golf alumni deal. So I'm going to back-to-back, and I think I've been to 2 already this year, so I'll be hitting a good bit of them this year.
I was reading about the Friday trash cans. I thought that was describing my golf game, but they got that down there.
What is this?
That's how they do tailgating.
Yeah, they just put them out, like, the red and blue. Like, it's always, like, the first one of the year is always kind of a big one. It's not really, like, a super, like, special thing, but it's always, like, people get hyped for it because, like, I think it's maybe Thursday, like, before the first home game of the year, they'll start putting the trash cans out in the Grove, and it's, like, starting to become real, and, like, so do you say you guys have or have not been to the Grove?
I have not, and
have not. It's amazing. I mean, I haven't been to a whole lot of schools. I've been to Fayetteville at Arkansas before, and like I went to Ohio State game the other day during the event in Columbus, And it was just not quite the same. Like there's tailgating throughout, but it's kind of like find a patch of grass here, parking lot here, like true like tailgating. But like Ole Miss, it's like we have these just, I don't know how many acres it is, just huge. I'm sure you've seen pictures, and there's just tents literally covered everywhere. It's like honestly hard to walk even sometimes for the big games. And like the tents have chandeliers and like the nicest catering you've ever seen. Like it's a cool environment. It's like people go overboard, but that's kind of like the point, I guess.
All right. So if we got a 2:30 kickoff, what time are we starting to tailgate?
I mean, I'm usually probably like, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours before, because I like going in the game early too. And like when I was younger, like in high school and stuff, I'd get there literally first. When 2 hours before they do the Walk of Champions, I'd follow them in and like get like first row in the student section when I was like 17. So I don't know if that was frowned upon or not, but I would do that. And then, but yeah, I would say something like that. You get to hang out in the Grove for 2.5, 3 hours and go into the game a little early. That's probably normally the move.
Did you develop a friendship with Kiffin at all while you were there?
I have not. They're doing, so next week at the Georgia game, they're recognizing me and Jackson Suver on the field. So I don't know if we'll get to meet Kiffin before the game or whatever. I've never talked to him. Our coach, Coach Malloy, he's friends with him, our golf coach at Ole Miss. So he's friends with him. So it's definitely in the realm of possibility. But yeah, I've never even seen him in person other than like from the stand. So hopefully we get to meet him.
That Georgia game, that's going to be sick.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're favored in the game right now. I'm not totally convinced on that, but hopefully we can get it done.
Them dogs, they're tough.
Yeah.
Damn. Very tough.
Favored at home against Georgia.
I always find this interesting because with being from the Memphis area, you don't have a pro sports team. So do you root for anybody in the NFL?
Well, the Memphis Grizzlies. So I'm a big Grizzlies guy.
I mean, NFL,
John Moran, all that.
Yeah.
But NFL, not really, because we had the Saints, Titans, the Rams when they were in St. Louis. Like the Cowboys were like 7 hours away. The Falcons were like 5. So like we were in a circle of like teams, and people kind of did. I would say probably Saints and Titans were like the big thing, but I just never have really gotten into NFL. Like I watch it every Sunday, but like it's kind of unfortunate. Like the way I feel when I watch an Ole Miss game is just like you get your blood going, and that's what I wish I could have in the NFL with a team. And I lived in Dallas for a little bit, tried to adopt the Cowboys, but just didn't quite. It felt like forced a little bit. So I don't know. I wish I had a team, but hopefully one will come to me someday.
You mentioned the Memphis Grizzlies. Have you ever met our man Chris Vernon?
Chris Vernon, yes.
It's going down at Augusta.
Yeah, we've had him on the show. He's awesome.
He's the man.
I love that guy.
He's a good dude. Do you feel like John Morant just kind of wrong place, wrong thing? Now that you have your tour card, do you think you can slide on his Instagram? That'd be cool.
Maybe.
He does fun stuff on there.
I'd love to meet all those guys. I'm trying to exploit this tour card as much as possible.
Yeah, I feel like you'd have a lot in common with Ja. You guys could hang out.
For sure.
That's good. Should we get to the E9 here?
Yeah, let's do E9. I think you know the routine here.
And we'll start it off because you are engaged. So we're going to start it off with if you could be anyone for a day, you get to walk in their shoes for a day. Anyone over the history of time, who would it be?
I'm a big Supercross fan. I don't know if you knew that about me, but I'm going to go James Bubba Stewart. I don't know if you know who that is, but
I do not, and you're the first person to come with that response.
Is the first.
We get a lot of Michael Jordans.
Right. And that is fantastic for me to know on the broadcast when you're playing well, because I don't think anybody in the golf world knows you're big into Supercross.
If I had another, I'm a little heavy for the sport. They're all about 160, 170 pounds. But if I could be a different life, that would be my passion. Absolutely.
Wow.
I like that. Okay,
right.
See, we learn something new every day. Okay. Braden, I actually don't know this story, but I've been told by multiple people around you to ask. I need to hear about your first college round at Ole Miss, what you shot, and how you enjoyed your lunch. Okay,
so it was not good. Like you said, I was a good junior player. I'd done well in qualifying, all that. I'm playing like 1 or 2 on the team, so like high expectations, all that stuff. Go in. It's at the farm in Dalton, Georgia, which very tough golf course. Go in and just have probably the worst day of my life on every front. Shoot 85, just nothing goes right. So I finish up. Sam Horsfield's in my group. We finish up on 9. Coach is there, and he's like, "All right, go do your scores or whatever." And like I'm down in the dumps, obviously. But me and Sam are talking, getting shuttled up to the clubhouse. And I get up there, do my scores. We go out, and he's like, "You want to grab some lunch?" I'm like, "Sure." So we go over, get a burger or whatever. Sit down, and like I'm not seeing any of my other teammates for like 15, 20 minutes. But like I'm like, oh, they're doing something, whatever. I'm not sure. So they all come walking up together. And I'm like, oh, I guess maybe they were down there. I still just not thinking anything about it. Coach Malloy comes up to me and he's like, "Come here." I'm like, okay. So we walk over, kind of like this little balcony section away from the people, and just starts ripping me, like absolutely ripping me, going just how selfish I am, all this kind of stuff, flips my hat around backwards so he can get like closer to my face right here. And like, so I mean, he's ripping me for a couple minutes, and like probably for the first half of it, I didn't even know what I'm getting yelled at for. So like, that's a real bad feeling when you're like sitting there and you're just getting ripped right here. And like, you're like, I don't know what I did. Is it because I shot 85? Like, this is terrible. I don't know if I want to play here and all this kind of stuff. And then finally he said something where I realized it, and I was like, oh, coach, like, I'm sorry. I didn't, like, you didn't tell me. Like, I don't know. I didn't know to, like, come down there. Like, there was, like, 3 groups left to finish, and Sam was like, you want to get some lunch? I'm like, sure. So that was, and, like, I remember, too, like, almost having, like, a little thought of, like, a tear coming out. I'm like, you can't cry right now. You, like, that can't come out. That cannot come out. Freshman, shoot 85, coach is yelling. Like, if you cry, you're done. So luckily, I was able to keep that in, and it was not a good start to my college career.
So it was about not going down and watching your teammates come in after you'd finished. It wasn't,
which 85. I should have known and done, but like I'm telling you, it never crossed my mind. Like I'm just sitting there eating lunch, be like, oh, where is everybody? Like no thought of it. But I guess that was something I knew after that, and I never did it again. So that worked, I guess.
All right. And you bounced back from that 85 nicely. You put that in the rear view and went ahead and had a nice little career, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? If I'd have shot in 75 that day, maybe I wouldn't be here.
Exactly. That could have been the catalyst.
All right, next one. Can you give me the actual definition of hottie toddy?
I cannot. Someone asked me this the other day. It's from way back in the day, and I know there's the drink that's something similar. I don't think there's like a clear answer to it. I don't know if it's one of those things where people just started saying it and it just caught on, but I actually don't fully know. So I can't really say any more about it than that.
The only thing I found out was it's not actually hottie toddy what it used like way back in the day when it started, and then it just somehow morphed into this. But nobody really knows the definition of it.
No, no one around Ole Miss even knows, I think. And it's always one thing. I get it so much at tournaments. So like hottie toddy, Thornberry, or whatever. And I don't know what to say back. Do I say hottie toddy? Do I say thank you? Like, I don't know. I don't know what to say to that.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm glad to get the support. And like, I love Ole Miss as much as anybody. But I never have like developed quite the response to that.
Yeah, I think you just throw a hottie toddy back at him. All right, while we're on that,
so. But it always catches me off guard a little bit when we're in, I don't know, Michigan, and you just hear a hottie toddy as you're walking by, and you're already like 10 feet past the guy. And
this one doesn't count, but it's along the same lines. Welcome to the SIP. Is that what y'all call Mississippi?
Yeah, that was Kiffin's deal. So like Ole Miss had always had the old school, very traditional, all that kind of stuff. And like, we weren't really having the success you'd want to have. So Kiffin comes in and like, he's like a cool vibe. Like the recruits like him, kids like him, all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of his like, he does the welcome to the SIP. The guys walking down like the Walk of Champions is what they do, like from the bus to the stadium, whatever. It's like probably, I don't know, a quarter mile or something. It's like a 10-minute walk, 5-minute walk. And they can wear whatever. Like Jackson Dart, our quarterback's wearing like a Gucci hoodie and stuff like that. So he tries to like, I think, play into, we got very lucky with the timing of getting Kiffin because the NIL and all that kind of stuff. He leans into that so hard and does such a good job with it that I think that was very nice timing for us. And some schools were a little behind. So that was very, very nice.
Oh, it's my go again. Okay, yeah.
You said that
I
one
forgot
didn't
I
count.
asked the bonus ball. All right, we're gonna stay on Ole Miss here. I just want to know you're diehard, bleed for Ole Miss. Give me the best sporting event you've ever attended at Ole Miss. It could be while you were there. It could be when you were a kid.
So when I was one of those times when I was talking about when I went in the student section early, like 2 hours early, got there, and it was the time in 2014 we beat Alabama at home. We were ranked like 17. It was kind of the first time in my life that we'd been good, and we went Alabama #1 came in and we beat them, and that was unbelievable. I remember I think it was Sinquez Golson, one of our cornerbacks. He like catches it in the end zone. They call it incomplete. Everybody's disappointed because like if it's an interception, it's the game because it's right at the end, and they're like, all right, we're reviewing it. So it's quiet for like 5 minutes. It took a while. Comes out and he's like, after review, like ruling on the field is it was intercepted. And like, it was so loud that I got like a headache from it. I've never had anything like that before. And it was like the coolest experience ever. Cause like which now I think our expectations are to do great things. But at the time, like it was, beating Alabama was the best achievement in like history. So that was cool to be there, like front row watching that.
I actually remember that game. Do you remember the Peach Bowl from that year by chance?
Mm-mm.
Anyone?
No, it didn't go
Guessing
well.
TCU did something stupid.
Just Google it.
I believe it was like 42-3 or something like that.
I forgot. I can hardly even remember.
Congrats on your Peach Bowl.
I can hardly remember, dude. Don't be a hater.
This is sick.
Don't be a hater.
All right. While you were licking your lips over there, let's ask him favorite barbecue place in Memphis.
I think I'm going to go the go-to favorite, I think, from people outside of Memphis is Rendezvous downtown. But I think Germantown Commissary over there, you've probably been there. It's over by Southwind. I don't know if you've been there or not.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable. It's like just kind of a little house kind of, and you kind of go through the hallways and stuff. But to me, it's the best one.
Some good eating there. That Rendezvous on the range, do they do it in the tournament? Very nice. Except when it's 110
They're all good. I mean, honestly, if you didn't put the logo on them and just brought them out, I think I'd eat them all and love them and not know which is which. So
nothing goes down but smoother than a little barbecue when it's 117
you gotta go out and
heat
walk
index.
18
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and you're
you got
just
18 hole
dripping
pro-am right
sweat.
after.
You just want to load up on some pulled pork.
Yeah, it's not great. That's probably the hottest I've ever been in my life.
It's the hottest place
2
in the world.
years ago at the FedEx St. Jude, Friday, it was like 111 heat index with 0 wind, and it was the most miserable time I've ever had on the golf course.
Yeah, Memphis is not the greatest for weather because it kind of gets really miserably hot and pretty miserably cold. Like there's always some times in the winter that like you can have shorts and a jacket on, but like it's kind of right in that spot where it's like you can kind of get the worst of both. So that's a little unfortunate. But yeah, I agree. The St. Jude, when I was growing up going to it, it always hit on the hottest week too. And I believe it when I was growing up, it was in May.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't have even like been crazy hot, but it was always like 102 every day, a heat index of 110. And it was, I don't know how it always happened that way, but it seemed like it did.
But even in May, though, we always had a lot more wind when we played there, and the scores were way higher. Like, if you got to double digits when it was in May, it was tough. Now they shoot 0 with it being in August.
Yeah,
and so hot.
Yeah, when I played it in college, I think I was like 8 under or something and in the mix. And like now, yeah, like the next year, there was like no wind and soft, and like DJ shot like 19, and now they always get to around 20, which is just like pretty impressive on that golf course.
By the way, so is a 4th place finish in college at a PGA Tour.
That was a good week. Which that's why I'm kind of similar to Indiana. Like I love when stuff's hard because I feel like it like keeps you in it so much longer. Like that week, I made the cut on the number, shot like 3 under on Saturday, and then I get hot on Sunday, and all of a sudden I'm in the mix. Where like some of these Korn Ferry events we play were like 27 under wins. Like if you're not, if you're not at 12 through 2 days, like you have no chance. Like unless you just shoot 60-60 or something. So I feel like the tough golf courses just keep you in it so much longer.
Yeah, and you just don't get those on the Korn Ferry Tour. You just gotta go.
Well,
it's like 4 Monday qualifiers in a row.
The scores, it's from like Exuma in Bahamas, the first one of the year. It's from it blowing 50. Like it's not that hard a golf course, but 10 under wins just because it's kind of like Mickey Mouse golf a little bit. So we don't get a lot of true like just hard 7,500 yard long rough firm greens. Like that's what a lot of the PGA Tour is. So it'd be nice if there'd be more of that. And I do think they're doing a good job on the Korn Ferry. From 2019 was my first year to now, like pretty much, I would say the bottom 3 or 4 events, they've replaced with some of the best golf courses, like taking the worst golf courses and making them the best. So overall, I think the schedule has gotten a lot better, but they still have a lot of work to do, I think, and I do think the Korn Ferry gets a bad rap too with the courses being like bad or like not nice. Most of them are very nice. Like a Springfield, Missouri, for example, like the scores are always low, but it's pure. Like it's a great golf course, great country club, all that kind of stuff. So it's just not a great, like, all those aren't great like PGA Tour tests. I don't think they show like who's necessarily ready for that level,
Still got to be a great player to win there in Springfield.
A lot of great talent in spring to win that Springfield. That's kind of like if you can win here, then you're on your way. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That one's the one that matters. You said you're going back to Ole Miss to be honored soon. Maybe meet Coach Kiffin. Are you going to run it back with the field goal with the golf club, which I think is the only one I've ever seen do that? That was sick, by the way.
That was sick, and looking back on it, it was very risky because it was an LSU night game, and I would have gotten booed out of there and probably never shown my face again if I missed it. So I don't know. It might be one of those things where I'm one and done. I don't think it's worth doing again because I feel like I only have downhill to go. But it's actually like not that hard. So that's the thing is like when I did it like the day before on Friday, I had like 10 in a row. It's like a 9-iron or an 8-iron or something. Like it just goes through easy and like no problem. But then I got out there and like it's like hadn't swung all day, all that kind of stuff, and like go out there and I'm like, if this goes bad, like I don't know what I do. Do I just like walk off like with my head down? Like I don't know what I do.
But you hooped that thing. Yeah, snuck it right in that left upright.
I did. And the crowd went nuts. The closest I came to missing any of it, which it's still, the video kind of shows it like tailing off pretty good. It was kind of already through by that point, but like it certainly like coming off the club, it was the first one I'd hit in the 2 days that I was like, that could miss.
Oof. I'm surprised more places haven't. That'd be a good thing for game day since no one can make the field goal that they kick.
Yeah.
I like the field goal thing.
He's got some valuable hands though. I guess you don't want to risk it.
True.
All right, next one. Favorite TV show of all time? I heard you can recite every word.
Me?
That's what
every word of a show.
That's what I was told. Got some bad info. Stuart
Our
Hagestad.
sources are shit, by the way.
Yeah, Stuart Hagestad.
This might be some bad info, or maybe at the time when I told him,
He said it's either Grey's Anatomy or Friends.
I like Friends, but I wouldn't say I could recite every word. I've never seen Grey's Anatomy, so you might have got some bad info there.
Stuart, you're dead to me.
Call, Stewie.
Yeah, you're dead to me,
He's probably
Stuart.
messing with you.
Stewie, you're listening right now. I know you are. Come with some better shit next time, dude. If you're gonna be a source, be
Is
a
this
source.
payback for us not having you on our show, Stuart? I mean,
Oh my god,
You
dude.
could just made something up and been more accurate.
Yeah, those mid-ams don't get you credibility as a source, dog.
He's been working so hard. He kind of forgot some of the stuff.
Yeah, I'm
Tighten
sure.
up, Stu.
All right, well, that question sucked.
All right, I'm going to go to the Walker Cup here. I need you to clear this up, dude. You brought it up early. With you getting your tour card now, is the 2017 Walker Cup the greatest Walker Cup team of all time? A lot of people are saying it's hands down, far and away the best, and I would probably tend to agree with them.
I think it's probably already in the ballpark, and a lot of guys haven't done probably a lot of the great stuff they're going to do. So I don't know. I mean, having Scotty alone on there is definitely, which is crazy because on that team, Scotty and Will were kind of the last two on, which is amazing. Will's almost won like 3 majors, and Scotty's obviously had one of the best runs of all time. So it's crazy. It shows how hard or strong that team was that they were like some of the last guys on it. And, Scotty's crazy to me because I always knew he was a great player. He had success at every level, but like just the success that he's had is just, and I think Colt, I think you've known him longer, but I just did not expect that level. I expected him to be on tour, win on tour, all that kind of stuff, but just what he's done, I didn't think was possible anymore in the modern game, honestly.
That's really cool to hear. Yeah, I mean, that's
to dominate like that in a Tiger clip.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I would just say go look at the career earnings because Dustin got like $200 million from Liv, so we're way ahead.
Career, that's not earnings. That's not earnings. That was a signing
Thanks,
bonus.
Dustin.
And by the way, I like where their team's at coming into the world of you
No
win
kidding.
$4 million every time you win type of deal. So
Yeah,
they might
that helped.
surpass that.
I think I saw the other day that Scotty's already 7th all time or something on the career earnings list, and
Dude,
just a couple 3 years of doing good stuff. It's crazy.
I mean, he's making more than like Mahomes and these guys.
Yeah,
crazy. That's just on the course.
I was reading this list the other day. I think it was like $3.4 million a tournament this season.
If you count his FedEx Cup bonus,
it's a good rate. It's a good gig if you can get it.
Why not just play every week if you're going to make
Play
that
all
money?
the time, dude. Does he have a financial advisor?
12,000 a shot. I'm like, I'm just taking more shots.
Yeah, just shoot 85. Don't watch your teammates come in.
I wasn't a trendsetter.
Yeah, dude, you're ahead of the curve.
So you said Scotty's the one that kind of surprised you, obviously because he's done crazy things. Yeah. But when you were on that 2017, which will go down as one of the best ever, you can't pick yourself because I know you would. We all would. Who did you think would have the best pro career off of that team?
That's a tough question. Probably Morikawa. I mean, he was another interesting one in college too because he didn't win as much as like how good he was. But like he finished top 5 in every big tournament you can imagine, and just obviously beautiful golf swing. Everything was just very sound. Like he looked like a PGA Tour player when he went out there. So that was probably like the can't miss person. He wasn't on that team, but I've always been a big fan of Sam Burns. I think he's just unbelievable. He's a gamer. I think he has everything you want, and I think he's very underrated. So obviously not on that team, but very easily could have been. I think I just feel like I'm a big fan of his game.
Yeah. He grips it, rips it. He plays fast as well. Pounds it.
I think he's so underrated, which is not necessarily a bad thing. He's got a ton of money and can probably go in Walmart and be fine. That's not a bad place to be. But
I like it.
Yeah, it ain't a bad place to be.
Braden, this has been a lot of fun, man. Thank you so much for joining us. Congrats on getting to the PGA Tour. Very well deserved. Can't wait to follow you next year.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks. We'll have to do it again sometime.
See you in Phoenix, brother.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Player liaison. Wear his
go.
ass out. Whatever you want.
I got you. For you, anything. Don't tell anyone.
All right, that was Braden Thornberry joining us on Golf Subpar, and also Riley Moss has now joined us officially.
It's a little snug on me, if I'm being honest. I might have a little more upper body than Riley. He's probably got me in the lower, if I'm being honest.
Makes sense. You look great.
I feel fast as shit.
I do like
right
that he
now.
sent the orange one too.
I feel fast as shit.
Yeah,
right now.
You look like it.
I want to hit somebody in the mouth.
Food is right outside.
He'd be a good place to start.
All right, well, let's talk about our guest, man. I don't know him very well. I've met him a couple of times. What a nice kid. If you don't root for him, I don't know what you do. He I remember hearing about him in amateur golf, how good he was. I mentioned that Walker Cup team, finishing 4th in college at the FedEx St. Jude. Thought he was a future star. Have a rough couple of years. Still might be. But really cool to see. I'm so pumped for him to be out on the PGA Tour now.
Yeah, I think probably just a huge relief for him, being that, like we talked about that Walker Cup team. Everybody on that team has gone on to get on the PGA Tour. A lot of them are going on and winning major championships.
Except
and
for
things
Stuart
like that.
Hagestad and his
Except
shitty
for
information.
Stewie with Grey's Anatomy or whatever. The only one we're going to talk. Well, I'm going to text you after this, but you got to tighten up if we're going to get you on the show like that. But now he's got it. He joins the club, and I think it's got to be just like a huge relief. Like, okay, no more. I can put it all to bed. I don't have to talk about it. And what a run, because like he mentioned it, going into the playoffs, he hadn't even secured his card for the next year on the Korn Ferry Tour. Yeah. Then he finishes 4th in Boise. That wrapped up his card, and he was like, okay, you're going to be exempt at least on the Korn Ferry Tour next year. A couple weeks later, he's going to the show. Like you said, man, what a easy guy to root for. Also, so fun watching him play. I like it for a couple of reasons. One, he's got the homegrown swing. It's not a lot of technique. He plays like a golfer as opposed to a robot. And B, fast.
Mm-hmm. Very fast.
Which is
like Riley
beautiful
Moss fast.
to see. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Let's tone it down a little. It ain't that fast.
No, but I'm excited to watch him out on the PGA Tour next year. He's good, and he's so nice. He's going to have a lot of fans out there. But let's get to a little football this week. PGA Tour is off. So, Lise, I'm giving you a game every single week on here.
I haven't lost none of them.
I haven't lost once. It's been good. I'm not saying I'm doing great when I actually do go out and bet them, but on here, I'm rolling right now. And I've been in the NFL every single time.
Okay.
I'm going to stick with it. And mainly because I think this squad's going to rally around this guy because he's incredible. He gave an amazing interview with Amanda Balionis last week. Before and after, he led the Cleveland Browns to victory. Okay? The Browns got the Chargers, and they're catching, I believe, 2 points. So give me Jameis Winston, the Cleveland Browns, +2, just because I love the guy.
Yeah, how do you not
He's
love
the best
him?
interview in sports.
He gave the best pump-up speech. He's given the greatest ever post-game E to W. Shout out Amanda Balionis for getting him to come out of his shell a little bit. You know what I mean? He's normally a hard guy to get going, and she did it. The white boy from Detroit.
Yeah. And what did he say about the play for the decal on the side? He goes,
he was giving like the hype speech early on. He was like, let's play for the name on the front of your jersey. Play for the logo on the helmet. Wait a minute, we don't have a decal, but play for the Browns. Yeah. We playing for the Browns. I was like, beauty. I love him. Yeah, you don't have a decal.
I'm looking for him to win 2 in a row after losing 5 in a row. Go Browns.
I'll take anything right now. I'm so ice cold. My pick last week just barely lost, dude. I had under 52.5 on Notre Dame Navy, and Notre Dame did it by themselves, basically. 51 for them. I turned it on. I was like, oh, that's my game. I picked. Let me check it out. I mean, it's just a fucking track meet. Just 70-yard tub. Oh, kick return. And it's gone. So lost that, but I'm going back to the well. Can't keep me down. Shooters shoot. Duke, who your ponies, just the greasiest grease ball dub of all time last week. They're going to Miami. Good program, by the way. But they're getting 20 and a hook at Miami. I feel like this is the game Miami sees like, oh, it's Duke. You don't got to show up. But for Duke, coming off a loss and a big game for them, I'll take them getting almost 3 tubs in that deal, and it'll probably lose.
Yeah, so there you go. Go and load up on it. Maybe try going to NFL.
Yeah, I suck at that.
Yeah. Sounds like you're great at college.
I suck equally. I actually win some college bets. NFL, I just like, here you go.
Speaking of the U, kind of a little rough situation there for the fella that went to the U that now plays for the Chicago Bears, who just decided to have a conversation with some fans, maybe on the last play of the game. Not maybe, it was on the last play of the game, and about 4 seconds into the play.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough week, I think, for him at meetings. And to be the guy to, do that and then be the guy that tipped it.
Yeah.
Then it goes back.
What a finish.
And the Jaden Daniels hype train just rolls on. I mean, didn't know if he was going to play. He's hurt, plays through it, guts it out, Hail Mary winner. Things are good.
Even though I'm not a Washington Commanders fan, I do like that Jaden Daniels. He's a player.
Yeah, keep him healthy.
But what a finish. That was I was on the couch, just trying to recover from Vegas, about to take a little nap, and then all of a sudden, bam, that tip, Hail Mary. I'm like, oh my God. And it cost me a fantasy win.
Yeah, and I got some texts from buddies like, oh my God, thoughts and prayers to the Bears +1 bettors on that.
Tough scene.
Tough scene. I've been there.
All right, well, hey,
I've been
let's
there.
go.
But
Riley,
I play in the league, so I can't bet on shit.
Come on, Riley, let's go get them this week.
I can't bet anymore. Take all this with a grain of salt because I'm in the league.
All right, well, thanks to Braden Thornberry for joining us. That one was a lot of fun. That's going to do it for us. We'll talk to you on next week's Subpar.